But what do you see it? How do you see it going in the future, Roy, in terms of things, interesting things that can be done, or sport climbing, some of those areas? I mean, you're an observer.
Yes.
Astute observer, I would say.
Well, as I said last night introducing Lynn, I didn't foresee how far she would go, so I'm not sure how much of a prophet I am. But I think the reason, there's several reasons that climbing has become so, shall we say, mainstream, as skiing did. Skiing started out as stiff boards, bindings that don't come off, no ski lifts, and everybody wore clothing that was comfortable but looked terrible. Okay, so the transformation in skiing went from better skis to ski lifts to safety bindings to the type of skis that made it easier to turn and so forth, and sexy clothing. And suddenly, of course, everybody wanted to do it. And I think climbing has done much the same. With sport climbing and with indoor climbing, you have you've eliminated the adventure in it, the danger, and that's fine as far as it goes. But that does make it more attractive to people who wouldn't do it otherwise. And with you have the sexy clothing in climbing now too. The good-looking people and properly attired, and it's accessible because it's well, the walls are accessible. You don't have to learn a lot about leading, about protecting yourself, because you can find places where there are bolts in place, and you can do indoor climbing, which is very accessible and safe and everything else too. So for those reasons, I think that's the reason it's exploding. That plus the things I've already talked about in terms of what you get out of climbing, just in terms of the challenge. Now, where does it go from here? I don't know. I don't see any reason why it should turn around and die off, because the dynamics are still there. I imagine it'll continue to grow, but not. I don't see it exploding further. I don't know why it would. I suppose the best, if it's going to do something like that, it'll be because it appeals, or is made to appeal to people who want to do it mainly indoors in the cities, because it's a heck of a lot better than a lot of other things you can do in a city.
Right.
The climbing walls are.
Well, you're really big into kayaking now. How did that happen?
Well, first got into river running in 1971 when Liz and I did the Green River with a group from Prescott College, Arizona. We went down in rafts, but there were some kids in kayaks, and it was pretty intriguing, so I tried it out.
Out in Utah? In
Utah, right. And that was fun. And we started selling them in our mountain shop, which we had in Modesto in 1975. And so I, of course, picked it up more then. I thought, yeah, this is pretty nice. This is fun, too. Not as good as climbing, but it's fun. And in 1978, I developed arthritis in my wrists and ankles, and I couldn't climb anymore. But I could still boat, so I just poured myself into kayaking, and adventure kayaking in particular, because I wanted to do new things. I always loved doing new things and finding out what's there when nobody else has been there, at least I haven't been there. And so we started doing that, and then went down to South America and boated down there, did a bunch of first descents down there in Chile, and about 15 down there and 15 in California. I almost gave up kayaking because the arthritis got so bad in 1980 that I was missing my Eskimo roll. I went ahead and went to Chile, even though it looked like I wouldn't be able to boat, or might not be able to. And luckily for me, the arthritis started going away then, and over the next 2 or 3 years it dissipated and went totally away, so now I'm not bothered with it, which is a tremendous gift. That was 1980, it was quite a while ago. And so I've had all those years to do the things that I thought I wasn't going to be able to do. So I can climb again, I can play tennis, I can boat.
We're talking earlier about shoes. When, as one of the great people of the Yosemite era, golden age or whatever, when did you buy your first chalk bag?
I've never owned a chalk bag.
You never owned one? No. Still don't own one. Okay. Well, I thought that's interesting.
I will use chalk on a boulder problem, which where it was done on the first ascent. But it was done without chalk on the first ascent. I figured, well, that's the standard to go for. That's the standard I try to apply to all my climbs. If I can't do it as well or better than the first ascent, I usually don't do it.
We talked about shoes, though, but did you, at some point, have you gone to whatever the
Yes,
high-tech?
I use the best rubber I can get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you find that makes a lot of difference? I mean, because there's a difference in age and...
It makes a discernible difference, and in really hard rock climbing, that's a lot, yes.
Because you've got with this, I guess the steel plate, you've got the smearing and the edging, and you can do it both, and plus lighter weight.
They're lighter, but it's the quality of the stickiness that's the main distinction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
What's, as you pointed out, equipment like skiing, and by the way, I don't think that all the skiing software clothing is necessarily, maybe that's a new challenge for Liz. There could be some improvements made there.
Yes, probably so.
But do you have any thoughts about what might change in terms of climbing gear for the future? The ropes haven't changed much in a long time. The carabiners are different shapes. I guess Friends have made one of the biggest differences in terms of big wall climbing.
Well, that's a very good question. I would imagine the natural course of things that ropes will become stronger and lighter, but not necessarily thinner, because you don't necessarily want them thinner.
Right.
That carabiners will become stronger and lighter, and they might find new variations on the way the gate opens to make it work better and so forth. I've seen some of those that I hadn't thought of myself. I wish I had, like the way the gate opens goes past the back to open it up wider. That's those work pretty nicely. Just one example. And something will happen with shoes to make them better, but I don't know what it'll be.
Well, I think the issue of Climbing magazine that I brought with me, and I'm not sure, it's probably a couple of months old, but there is an article about whether or not these new shoes are the best things for you, so there probably will be changes in shoes. Well, just to wrap up here, do you, in a sentence or two, do you have any advice for young climbers who know what you've done and would like to be great climbers themselves, perhaps?
Well, there's a lot of things I could say. Of course, I could go on and on and on, but I'll just say there's something a phrase I sometimes use. 4 simple rules, Believe in yourself, seek adventure, take care, that's an important one, that's the prudence part, and have fun. That's about covers it for me.
I couldn't imagine there being much better advice. Kind of follow your heart and be careful, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Roy Robbins, thank you so much for taking time out from the AAC meeting today to be with us, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Thanks, John. My pleasure.